What's going on, guys? Luke22SV here, and we're back with the career mode today here for the Japanese Grand Prix of Season 2. And if you just saw there, we have switched to the senior team of Red Bull and doing basically a straight swap with Pierre Gasly, and we have taken his seat, he's taken our seat. So after impressing with Toro Rosso over the last few races, we have now joined Red Bull for the rest of the season, and hopefully going forward into next season, if we can impress, we should carry on at Red Bull. So a good start to our second term at Toro Rosso has seen us get promoted to Red Bull. So should be fighting at the top end of the grid once more, but straight away we've got some old engine parts that have to be replaced momentarily as well. This time last season, I think we retired from the Japanese Grand Prix. I think it might have been on the first lap actually that we did retire. We did retire from the last time out in Russia, but we did get pole position. We have also won in Italy, so we've done basically everything we could have asked for whilst being at Toro Rosso. Kind of got screwed by basically the wet weather and at the start colliding with my new teammate, but at the moment things haven't started off too well. We're currently down in P16, now just trying to come onto our best lap, which hopefully this can beat our previous lap time, because currently P16 has not a good way to start our Red Bull debut. But we are up on our previous time, going through the first few sectors. We'll go through sector 1 as we go through now. Audio is a bit out of sync, I believe, or maybe it's not. It did sound a bit weird going through the S's then, but now we are up in sector 1 by a fair amount. So hopefully this is going to be a good time to put us further up the order. We're 2 tenths off Hamilton though, so Red Bull is a little bit off at the moment. So we've got to work on trying to get it back towards the top, with McLaren and Mercedes being the top teams at the moment. Mercedes still being quite dominating at the top, but that's what we've got to do to try and stop them. We did quite well to improve the Toro Rosso. It was the worst car when we joined. It's now the 5th best car, so both the Red Bull teams now looking to get on the up, and with us on board, hopefully we can help out there as well. But here we go, our first couple of qualifying laps in the Red Bull. As we come through now, not too far up on our previous time through there, but we're still down by quite a bit on Bottas, who's just gone quickest. You can see the Ferrari just ahead as well. So now we come around the last couple of corners to end our lap as we come across the line. Is it going to be better than P16? You bet it is. It's only good enough for P10 though. Yeah, so not our day. I think our actual objective is perhaps P5 or P4, so we've got to aim quite high. Verstappen's done quite well, best of the rest pretty much. The Mercedes are still too strong. Butler as well, he's quite strong. Norris still struggling a bit in qualifying, although better from him. Gasly done well in his Toro Rosso debut, getting 5th, I think it was there. Albon is ahead of us as well, so we're actually the 4th Red Bull, ended up in the last Red Bull in the order. So both the Red Bull teams doing very well around basically their engine suppliers home track, of course Honda, as we head into the race then for the Japanese Grand Prix. So a decent start to the our season, our time at Red Bull will be ideal, but this track tends to suit the AI more than it suits the player, so we're kind of up against it in that respect. But we've got to do our bit, hopefully stay out of trouble. It's quite a tight and twisty start to the track as well, so there's always chances to lose parts of your front wing, but we'll have a look at the grid order then, and Hamilton chance to perhaps win the title, I think, in this round. Bottas is second, he's a long way behind Hamilton now. I think Weber's second still, Verstappen third, Butler 4th. So Gasly 5th ahead of Vettel as the Ferraris are going backwards, along with the Alphas now, with Weber ahead of Norris, and then myself up the 9th, Leclerc 10th, Stroll, Perez, and then Russell and Albon having a penalty, so Kvyat ahead of Ricciardo, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, the 2 Hasses ahead of the 2 Renaults, Sainz and Giovinazzi at the back, as we're used to seeing now the Hasses and the Renaults just sort of slipping down the order. But now we come on to those 5 red lights to start our first race in Red Bull. Eager to impress Red Bull now, as we did not last season, but we have now, as soon as we've had our second spell at Red Bull. And now we're away. We've had to cut across to Leclerc straight away. We lost 2 places already. Stroll and Perez getting past us into turn 1. We dive back down the inside of the turn 2, taking away P9 again. So keeping our position pretty much off the start after losing with a poor getaway. And now we're in P9, looking to settle in now for the rest of this race. To see, you can see Weber and Vettel having a battle there side by side, the two German drivers there. We're looking for a way past. Norris is looking to get involved as well, so almost running into the back of Norris there, just carrying a lot of speed compared to Norris, which has ended up having to put us on the back foot a bit there. And now coming through the next couple of corners, we're still in P9, so a fairly decent start then. Haven't lost any positions. That's still all we could really ask for. Now we've got to try and gain. And, well, almost thinking about a move on the inside of Norris there, but thought better of it on lap 1. Don't really want to lose into that front wing yet. Well, ideally wouldn't want to lose any of that front wing at all. But now settling into this race, yeah, now Norris is ahead of us. So if the pace is how it was in qualifying, we shouldn't be expecting too much out of this race, because that lap we were full on that lap. That was a actually felt like a very good lap, even though it's only for P10. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult race going forward. If we can fight with these guys, that'll be something. But Perez is now looking to almost make a move into the final chicane there, but wasn't too close enough to make that move. Hamilton leading the way after the first lap of this race. Then the two Mercedes seem very strong around this track, so looks like it's going to be a 1-2 for those guys unless they have any problems. But didn't look like they had initially a good getaway. They can see Devon Butler, I believe it is, having a good start, but not being able to get past the Mercedes in the end. We dive back past Stroll and Perez, who well, cheekily got past us in the first corner, well, because of our poor launch that we have. Seeming as we do use traction control, as I am using a pad at the moment. Still getting closer to using a wheel eventually, and then I'll eventually stop using traction control, and hopefully I'll be a little bit quicker than what I am on a pad. I think I've probably reached the peak on a pad on this game at least. Although maybe I could get a little bit more out, but still looking to try and get onto the wheel soon. But that's pretty much the end of the highlights of lap 1. Pretty mundane lap 1 in the end, as we just pretty much status quo from our grid position. So moving on to lap 2 then, we've got Lando Norris ahead of us still. We're starting to fall back a little bit by the looks of it, as you can see on the screen. But yeah, it looks like we're just going to have to settle for as much as possible. Hopefully we can get something out of this race, because, well, we haven't got the pace to simply compete with these guys. So yeah, but it's not like we want to really settle for P9, but if that's what we have to do, then that's what we have to do at this point. Our teammates are a long way up the road as well, so not really the most impressive Red Bull debut either, particularly with Gasly actually looking stronger than he ever did at Red Bull. It's almost corresponding to the real life season of 2019, of how well we didn't end up doing it in the Toro Rosso compared to the Red Bull. But actually now, towards the end of this lap, we've actually closed in a little bit on Norris through the spoon corner there. But now again, it sort of just went back to how it was previously. But it's looking alright though in this race. If we can see a few problems ahead of us, that would really help. But at the moment, it looks like it's going to be a dull race from now on. But yeah, that's how it is going to be sometimes. You just have to. There's not too many overtaking spots on this track as well. You have to be quite opportunistic, which is almost a good thing about this track. But it can also be a bad thing as well if you aren't brave enough. But Perez, is he going to be brave enough heading into turn 1? The answer is no. We ended up staying ahead of Perez, even though he looked very interested. But DRS is now available for Perez. It's not going to be available for us unless we can get close enough to Lando Norris. But again, he's going to have DRS on Weber if he's close enough to them. And there seems to be a few cars quite close to each other there. So if they're going to hold each other up, maybe we can get close enough to perhaps make a move or two on these guys. But at the moment, it's not looking too promising. We're well over a second, but going through Decna 1 and Decna 2, caught up a little bit there. Try not to focus too much on Sergio Perez. If we focus too much on defending, we aren't going to have much time to attack, because those guys ahead of us are just going to keep pulling away whilst we keep looking behind us. So if we can, we're going to try and live and hope that we can catch up to Lando Norris and then catch up and maybe overtake him. And then there's the pit stop window as well. Maybe a few drivers will get caught up in the pit stops, and maybe we may get lucky. But throughout this career mode, we haven't really done well in the pit stops, to be honest. We've tended, if we did try and undercut, it wouldn't have worked. They tend to go onto the medium tyres and they end up being cold. We end up trying to save ERS as well for the next lap and try and go quicker, but it just doesn't seem to work for whatever reason. But now it seems to be well, a little bit of a corner cut there almost, but we do have DRS now. But It seems like Devon Butler's holding a few cars up there, Lando Norris's teammate. And now there's a little bit of a battle going on, but we move on to lap 5, and it's still status quo really between myself and Lando Norris and a few cars ahead of us. So now Devon Butler still got Gasly, Vettel, Weber, and Norris. Myself now behind Leclerc is up to P10, so Leclerc, he's made his way up a couple of places, getting past Perez and probably Stroll as well, after he had a pretty poor start after we ended up cutting across. So Leclerc wouldn't have been too happy about that, but what can you do? Albon as well, perhaps his car's a little bit better than what his position is in on the grid. He did out-qualify us as well, but now look at this, we're right up behind Lando Norris. So just like that, we're going to make the move down the inside of Lando Norris into the hairpin, Kobayashi's favourite corner from a few years ago. Up into P8 we go. So opportunistic there, and we just got somehow close to Lando Norris. Weren't close enough for a while, and all of a sudden we just managed to close up the gap, and all of a sudden just decided to make that move. And ideally for us, we're up to P8, but now are we going to be able to carry on this little resurgence up the order as we've gained a position there? But Lando Norris fighting back now. Is he going to be able to make the move on us? Weber trying to make the move on Vettel as well as we go through 130R, and we stay ahead of Lando Norris as he ends up falling back, but we end up diving down the inside of Lucas Weber from a long way back. An opportunistic move again through the final chicane. Up into P7 we go, so we just gained 2 places like that. And have to be opportunistic, as I said a minute ago around here, but now is Lucas Weber going to be able to make that move back past us as we go through turn 1 and turn 2? No, he's not. He's almost run wide actually, but yeah, and that's kind of helped us out a little bit there. But now we can see just ahead of us Vettel fighting with Butler, and it looks like Gasly as well has got past Devon Butler. So Butler, for whatever reason, hasn't got the pace around this track like he did in qualifying at least. My teammate's going to be a long way down the road as well. We get onto that curb, and that's cost us a bit of time as well. We just got a little bit of a tank slapper as we get onto that curb. But now we're carrying on as we come on through Degner 1 and Degner 2 again, and we're going to be pitting at the end of this lap, and we carry on towards the end of lap 6 as well. Now going through Spoon, we've run a bit wide again, and getting a bit of understeer there. Is now Weber will be interested on trying to get a move on us here. Is he going to be able to make it done? He's going to the outside, and he's already passed us before 130 yards. So that poor exit out of Spoon, we're getting a massive kick of understeer, as now we just dive back down the inside of Lucas Weber, and now we're going to be coming into the pits. So a bit of an unnecessary move in all honesty. We didn't really need to make that move, but we just did anyway, because why not? It would cost him a little bit of time more than it costs us time. But we're in the pits, and we're going to be the first driver into the pits. I think no one's in the pits with us, which has kind of helped actually. And Lucas Weber has actually had a little incident at turn 1 as well. For whatever reason, there was a yellow flag at turn 1. Weber was of course right behind us, so for whatever reason Weber has had an incident at turn 1, and we'll have a look at that in just a moment's time. But yeah, now we won't have to worry about being overcut, because Weber's had a dramatic little thing happen into turn 1. As you can see here, he's fighting with Lando Norris. Lando Norris goes down the inside, and then Weber just turns into him, I think, and Weber goes off the track. You see his front wing flying off there, and you can see Albon as well is caught up as well. Here's the onboard as we dive into the pits. Weber carrying on. You can see Lando Norris is going to be coming down the inside, so maybe Lando Norris might be able to get the overcut on us if he's lucky. But Weber doing everything he can to defend from Norris. He's trying to attack us, ends up having to defend from Norris, just runs into the side of him, goes off, and he's lucky to still be in the race there. Almost like a repeat of the instance that happened in Silverstone in Austria not so long ago. But we move on to the end of, well, we start at lap 8, and we're up into P13. Devon Butler is ahead of us, so that's where we are really out of the pits. Haven't really gained anything, haven't really lost anything either. About the same sort of distance we were towards Butler before we pitted. Whether we can catch up to him is another question. He's going to be on colder tyres though. We're on fresher, warmer tyres now. We've got them warmed up, but whether we can catch up to him is another question. We're going to do as much as we can. Butler hasn't really shown too much pace in this race, so if we can catch up to him, that would be quite handy for our debut, and it'd be a good result for us, to be fair. But Perez there having an issue as well, so we won't have to worry about Perez attacking us too much. He ended up getting overtaken by Leclerc anyway, so he's probably going backwards down the field, unfortunately for him. Racing Point a bit hit and miss as well this season. Perez, of course, getting his win, so maybe that win for Perez might open the shop window come the end of the season. Sort of nice to have a bit more realistic transfers though, although I've had 2 transfers already this season, which you might say is not too realistic, but the fact that the AI are a little bit more realistic, because pre-patch, I think pre-patch before the AI transfer update, they were just switching randomly mid-season, and it wouldn't be realistic ones either. It'd just be like Kubica to Ferrari randomly mid-season, or Grosjean to Ferrari, as I've had on my other career mode, which is off camera, which is just random. Like, why would Grosjean ever be ending up at Ferrari after getting like 4 points that season or something like that? It's pretty much how it went. But coming out of the pits there is Vettel. So Vettel staying ahead of Butler there. So actually, I think Vettel overtook Butler in the pits. So Vettel getting a jump on Butler, who's been underperforming this race. And Gasly is ahead as well. Gasly down the road. So Vettel will probably be trying to do his best to catch up to Gasly. But Ferrari, actually, I think they have a slower car than Toro Rosso actually on paper at the moment. But it's a bit weird to see that, to be honest. But yeah, Vettel will be doing his best to try and catch up to the Toro Rosso, I think. But yeah, I don't know how quick that Ferrari is going to be compared to that Toro Rosso in these conditions. Well, in this race as well, because the Toro Rosso has had a lot of upgrades recently, being the 10th best, and now it's the 5th best. So thanks to me, at least, the Toro Rosso's gone up a lot. But now hopefully we can do the same with the Red Bull. Perhaps knock Mercedes off the top spot at the start of next season. Maybe if we're still at Red Bull next season, of course, we can maybe try and perhaps challenge Mercedes dominance, which is carried on from real life into this second season of this career mode, as we are trying to close in on Devon Butler now. We're actually getting quite close to Devon Butler. Are we going to be able to make a move into this chicane like we have on Weber a couple of times? But no, a little bit too far back that time perhaps. But now we've got DRS. Are we going to be able to make a move? He's going to have DRS though on Vettel, so that's going to be a difficult thing for us. We move on to lap 10. Are we going to be able to make a move into turn 1? Getting close, but we're probably not close enough, unfortunately. Just not close enough for Butler still having that DRS assistance to help him there. If he didn't have that DRS, perhaps we could have made the move into P7 again. I'm not sure why we were in P8, because we were in P7 I think before the pit stop window, so unless someone hasn't pitted yet, we should be in a net P7 in this race. But at the moment we're in P8 trying to fight for P7, which should turn into P6 when the last guy pits. It's probably a Renault or something going on a bonkers strategy, because there you go, we go through Degner 1, having a massive moment through Degner 1, which has probably cost us any chance of getting towards Devon Butler now. But Butler's on the back of Vettel, who's on the back of Gasly. So if we can just get a little bit more pace, as you could just see there, we were pushing very hard, but perhaps too hard, unfortunately. So there we go. Now coming towards the last 3 laps of this race, we're in P8, which should become P7, I hope, unless we're only going to lose more points in this race, which wouldn't be too handy for us on our Red Bull debut. But Mexico's next time out, I think that should be a better race for us. USA though, that is the different question. I think last time I had another DNF in USA, that was a difficult race. The AI seemed to be much stronger than myself, sorry, at that track. And then we got Brazil, which is about 50-50, I think. The AI quite decent there. And then Abu Dhabi, which is a dull track, and I just have no pleasure driving around. So yeah, there's that. And now we're on to the last lap of this race. We're back into P7, where we belong. We haven't been able to make any inroads, but Vettel has. He's managed to get past Gasly. We're in P7. We're ahead of Leclerc, and we're just going to come towards the end of this race. Not the best possible debut we could have had, but I think we drove alright. We didn't drive too bad. But yeah, our teammate's done a little better. Well, when I say a little, he's done a lot better than us. He's in P3, but we're going to have that excuse that we're new to this team and we didn't know the car. So we're going to have that excuse, even though the Red Bull guys on this career mode game won't have that excuse. They won't say, oh, I'll give you a couple of races to get used to the car. They're just going to come out straight, all right, you got to finish P5, mate. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. That perhaps could be changed momentarily in the next few F1 games, but for now it's just a bit well, it's decent, but there's still a lot of room for improvement in these F1 games, which I hope Codemasters will eventually see and sort out. But Hamilton then winning the race, and he looks like he'll be very close to that championship if he hasn't won it already here. But Vettel looking like he's almost going to lose that position to Gasly in the end, but manages to keep hold of it. He crosses the line. and we crossed the line too, going sideways in the end and into the wall. But not too bad of a result. It wasn't the most exciting race either, but had a few highlights to be fair. But Hamilton then is the Drivers' Champion with 4 races to go. It just shows how bad the competition has been this season and how off the pace Bottas has been as well. I think Bottas' seat is probably going to be up for grabs by someone next season. Maybe Hamilton might find a different adventure next season, I don't know. But Bottas perhaps underperforming this season. Hamilton would be happy with that. He's won the title. I think Bottas was the Season 1 champion as well. So for whatever reason, it's just gone horribly wrong for Bottas. He's had a little bit of bad luck, to be fair. Weber as well has been quite decent for Alpha. Unfortunately, we've had to put up with that whilst we were at Alpha. But now we're at Red Bull and getting beaten by Verstappen instead. So, yeah, the rest of the season should be quite fun. But Hamilton celebrating with his boys there. Matty Gallagher will be very happy about that, the guy there. So, sweet. Let's go on to the next end of the result. See where we are in the championship after that. Finished behind our replacement, Pierre Gasly. That's a bit ironic. But yeah, Butler finishing 6th from his starting position. He looked so strong at the start as well, but for whatever reason it didn't go the way he planned. Albon, so all 4 Red Bull cars getting in the points then. Albon got a couple of points too. Good to see our former teammate, and well, yeah, former teammate twice, getting some points there. So yeah, there you can see. Well, I don't know why Grosjean ended up Toro Rosso though, but yeah, he's no longer there. We're currently in 5th, so if we can cheat off the McLaren, that doesn't look too likely at the moment, but who knows how the next few races will go. We might get a bit lucky, we might get a few upgrades, so we'll have to wait and see. But that's going to be the end of the episode there, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that one. We'll see you very soon in Mexico, hopefully for some better results next time out. But like and subscribe, and see you very soon.